Welcome to this week's Community Focus. I'm your host, Jaden Jefferson. Joining me right now is State Representative Elgin Rogers. I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Hi, Jaden. Thank you for having me.
There are a couple different things recently that you've been involved in that I want to talk about today. The first being the Ohio Trucking Caucus. This is something that was a newly formed part of state government. So could you offer some perspective on what this trucking caucus is and what the potential implications could be for the state economy?
The caucus is a bipartisan caucus formed with members from the Ohio House of Representatives as well as the Ohio Senate, and I'm the co-chair. And part of what we're trying to do is making sure that we are providing businesses and with the resources and the support that they need to be successful in the trucking industry, as well as the citizens of Ohio. Trucking is very logistics in general is a very big part of our state and national economies, and so we want to make sure that the state of Ohio is producing good truckers. We have safe roads, and that we have the means by which to get goods to market. And so that's what the Trucking Caucus in a nutshell is.
One of the words that comes to mind for me about trucking is infrastructure, because you had just mentioned how Ohio is a logistical center. A big part of that is because of the way our infrastructure has been set up. We have a lot of easy access to expressways. And so what will the caucus's work look like in terms of infrastructure and some other different parts of this that really help to make trucking such a big industry here?
The Trucking Caucus is newly formed, and we're still meeting to form what our priorities will be. We want them to be organic. We want them to be well thought out. But as a member of the Transportation Committee, one of our primary focus is to make sure that we have great infrastructure, not just on the ground, but by rail and by sea, as well as by air as well. So part of the Trucking Caucus, we're still forming our priorities right now, but infrastructure is definitely one of them, and making sure that Ohioans have this is a workforce as well, that Ohioans have access to CDLs and non-distracted techniques.
What are the challenges that currently face this industry that the caucus would like to address?
One is truckers. Two, we talk about the fuel tax. We talk about how do we maintain that infrastructure. Right now, there's a gas tax that helps with a fuel tax that helps with infrastructure. We also talk about making sure that we're looking into the future. As you know, one of the things that's really moving fast is driverless vehicles and driverless. So we want to be at the forefront of making sure that we are protecting Ohioans, and also that the Trucking Caucus is provided with the resources to help businesses and truckers be successful.
Yeah, and that obviously is one of the things that you were working on recently, but something else you were working on as well was a bill to designate June as Male Wellness Month. And you actually have some support from the other side of the aisle on this. What was the idea behind this, and what are you hoping to accomplish by doing that?
One of the ideas behind Male Wellness Month is to bring attention to the issues that many men and males don't talk about. And that's our health and our mental health and our wellness. A lot of things that are surrounding the healthcare system. People are very distrustful now. Men are very distrustful. And we want to make sure that people have access to information, and also that males have access to advocates when they are going to the doctor. So one of the things that this bill does, it designates the month as June as Male Wellness Month. It's titled Male Wellness Month Act. We want to make sure that folks are going to get their colonoscopies, they're getting their preventative care screenings, they're getting their prostate exams, their mental health screenings. And also we've designated the third day in this bill, the third Monday of the month in this bill, as Take Your Dad to the Doctor and Dentist Day. So that's following Father's Day. So when you're talking about getting your dad's, what are we going to get dad, a pair of socks or a tie? No, schedule him a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment. And not just schedule it, but go with him, because a lot of times advocates, when they're going into these facilities, because they hear something totally different than what the physician is oftentimes saying. So this is a bill that's designed to bring rural, urban, and suburban males to the doctor, and also to make families more involved in the care of the males in their lives. And we call it a male wellness bill because this bill is not just designated for men, but we want all males to start thinking about their health. And I believe that by creating awareness with this bill, folks will start talking about it and start doing preventative care and the preventive screening, and we can save some lives and also save Ohioans money from the bloated cost of not taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
No pun
being
intended.
proactive, especially when it comes to healthcare, it saves the most money because oftentimes, if you let those issues persist, it builds up and it becomes more expensive over time. And one thing I am glad you mentioned was prostate cancer because that has become recently something that's back in the news. It was having a larger impact on men, but of course, President Joe Biden had just announced that he had the diagnosis. And so that really puts that back in the spotlight. What would you say the messaging is going to look like surrounding Male Wellness Month? What will be the messaging campaign throughout the month if this bill becomes law and we start to see that there is that increased awareness and knowledge about these different health issues?
We're doing here in Northwest Ohio with my joint sponsor. I have to give a big thank you and shout out for my joint sponsor, Brian Lorenz, for supporting this bill and being a joint sponsor. We're hosting several male wellness breakfasts here in the state of Ohio. I want to be in Central Ohio, and we're looking at other parts of Ohio as well to get to, like you said, to campaign and also to bring awareness to these issues that affects all Ohioans, whether you live in a rural community, an urban community, or a suburban community, whether rich, poor, black, right? No matter what the demographics are and you're a male, we want you to get the attention and the support that you need to be healthy and successful and to be a hardworking Ohioan. So we're hoping that by bringing awareness, this bill will also be promoted if passed, this bill will also be promoted by the Ohio Department of Health and all local health departments, just raising the issue of mental. This is a process into the overall process of trying to make Ohio healthier.
There certainly is a lot of messaging that men and boys will also receive online from social media and from different places that discourages that awareness of health. There's a lot of cultural stigma, there's a lot of community stigma that exists. So what is the difference that this type of legislation would make in really starting to erode that stigma?
The difference is we men, we work and operate in silos. We're not as sharing about our health or about our mental wellness. So this is to bring folks out of the darkness to the light. So Jay, bring forward to talk about those things. And these are things that we'll talk about at our breakfast. We're going to have healthcare professionals who are there from the field of medicine and also from the dental field of dentistry. And also we're going to have people who have experienced prostate cancer. It's not a death sentence. People who have experienced colonoscopies and colon cancer, is not a death sentence, and it's also not a violation. So we're going to demystify some of these thoughts that people think that these procedures have on individual males. A lot of folks don't, they crack jokes at the barbershop or at the garage or wherever at school about what's taking shape and what's taking form. We're working to make sure that we're demystifying some of the myths and that we're shedding light and providing quality, accurate, and true information about what's going on with these.
And that is certainly important in the social media era because there's a lot of inaccurate information and misinformation that exists. So certainly important to have that expert input. State Representative Elgin Rogers, I appreciate you for coming on this week's Community Focus.